The distinction between subtractive and additive sculpture reflects fundamentally different relationships between the artist and material. Stone carving is subtractive. You reveal a form that is somehow trapped in the stone. Michelangelo famously said, "The sculpture is already complete within the marble block, before I start my work. It is already there, I just have to chisel away the superfluous material." Clay modeling is additive. You have nothing and create something, building form progressively from the raw material. These different processes create different creative experiences and different relationships to material. Many sculptors work in both. They model in clay, additive, flexible, correctable, to plan a work, then cast the clay model into bronze, permanent, or carve the stone version, subtractive, permanent. Traditional Nigerian pottery uses local earthenware clay that women potters have been sourcing and preparing for generations. In Igbo communities, for example, pottery is traditionally a female craft. Women dig clay from specific local deposits, process it through soaking, wedging, and kneading, then build their pots using the coil technique, not the potter's wheel, which is not traditional to most of southern Nigeria. The pots are fired in open bonfires rather than kilns, reaching temperature sufficient to harden the clay through the earthenware transformation. This entire knowledge system, where to find the right clay, how to prepare it, how to coil and shape pots, how to fire them, is held by specialist women potters whose craft knowledge represents both practical technology and cultural heritage. Fine art education that includes clay work connects students to this tradition. The pinch pot is the oldest form of human-made container. We know that early humans made pinch pots from clay approximately 25,000 years ago. The technique is so simple and so direct that it requires almost no instruction to begin: hands, clay, and the impulse to make a container. Yet mastering the pinch pot, achieving even walls, a smooth surface, a pleasingly carved form, a stable flat base, takes considerable practice. The German pottery of ancient Japan, approximately 16,000 BC, among the oldest pottery in the world, was built by pinching. The earliest pottery fragments found at ancient Nigerian sites are hand-built. Making a pinch pot is to participate in one of the most ancient continuous human practices. The coil building technique allows for remarkable versatility of form, from simple cylinders to complex curves, from intimate small vessels to large architectural scale work. Pottery without the wheel, which is not traditional to most of southern Nigeria and much of Africa, has been characterized by some as primitive relative to wheel-thrown pottery. This characterization reflects cultural bias, not technical reality. Hand-built coil pots can achieve forms impossible on the wheel. The direct contact between the potter's hands and the clay allows sensitivity to the specific qualities of each lump of clay that we throw in, which standardizes the process, cannot replicate. Traditional Nigerian pottery's hand-built forms, the wide-shouldered water storage pots, the elegantly flared beer pots, the precisely formed cooking vessels, represent highly developed aesthetic traditions refined over centuries. The tradition of portrait sculpture in Nigeria, from the Nok terracotta faces, 500 BC, 200 CE, through the Ife bronze portrait heads, 11th to 15th century, to the contemporary portrait work of artists like Nnedi Dyke and Sokari Douglas Camp, represents a continuous artistic preoccupation with the face as the site of individual identity and spiritual power. The Ife bronze portrait heads combination of individual specificity. These appear to be portraits of specific people, and formal idealism. The faces are also aesthetically perfected beyond typical human appearance, creates an artistic tension that scholars have debated for decades. Are these realistic portraits or spiritual idealizations? This debate, between the specific and the ideal in portrait art, is as alive in contemporary Nigerian portraiture as it was in 11th century Ife. The transformation of clay through firing is one of the most dramatic material transformations available to an artist. Soft, wet, moldable art becomes hard, permanent, ceramic through exposure to heat. The temperatures required, 900 to 1300 degrees Celsius, are extraordinary, far beyond any common domestic heat source, which is why kiln technology was itself a significant technological achievement. Traditional Nigerian pit firing, building a bonfire over pots placed in a pit, reaches approximately 600 to 800 degrees Celsius, lower than former earthenware temperatures, producing less hard ceramics, but sufficient to produce functional pottery. When students work with clay in school without access to a kiln, they are working with the same material in its preferred state, experiencing the plasticity and creativity of working with clay, but without the permanent transformation that firing provides. For your exam, sculpture equals three-dimensional art, length plus width plus depth, exists in real space, can be viewed from multiple angles. 3 types: relief, partially 3D from flat background, freestanding / in the round, fully 3D, all sides, installation, large-scale environment. Clay properties: plastic when wet, rigid when dried, permanent when fired, additive technique. 3 techniques: pinching, thumb in ball pinch walls between thumb and fingers rotate, even wall thickness 5/8 mm, simplest technique, coil building, roll clay into ropes, stack around the base, blend inside surface, control shape by placing coils in / out, modeling, add clay to build form, score and slip for joints. Nigerian heritage, Nok terracotta, 500 BCE 200 CE, Kaduna, fired clay, oldest sub-Saharan sculpture, traditional pottery, are coil-built, women potters, pit-fired. Score and slip, must do when joining clay pieces, score surface, apply slip, clay plus water paste, press together. Exam tip: describe 2 hand building techniques. For each technique, give, name, the process, how to do it step by step, the forms it's best for. Always name process form for maximum marks. Wonderful! You have begun your sculpture journey with clay, the most ancient and most accessible of all sculptural materials. Practice pinching and coil building this week. If clay is not available, even stiff dough or earth mixed with water can give you the experience of hand-forming a 3-dimensional shape. In our next lesson, we explore weaving, one of Nigeria's oldest and most culturally significant craft traditions. See you in class.